Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to put a spotlight on a company that's really making a name for itself in the world of outsourced support staffing. Their journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, if you are a small to mid-sized business and you don't want to take on full-time employees here in this country, there are some wonderful companies out there that can help get you some staffing support. And one of the people who is leading that effort is in our Austin studio right now, Sean Devitt. He's the head of sales for Outsource Broker Support. Sean, thanks for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, give me a little history of the company. How long has it been around?
So the company's been around for a few years. It was built in APAC, and the co-founders are an IT engineer and someone that actually owns a mortgage broking or credit and debt business. Since then, we've grown the business in Asia Pacific and recently established ourselves in the US.
Wow. And I detect a little bit of a East Texas accent.
Yes, I've eaten too much barbecue, and it's made me sound like this. No, originally from Melbourne, Australia.
Awesome. So it's an international company. We're going to pull up the website, and as we scroll down the website, let's talk about the kinds of clients that you like to work with. Sean, what's a great client look like?
A great client for us is definitely someone playing in financial services, so mortgage brokers, loan officers, insurance brokers, financial advisors. That's what we're actually built for in our back end. And realistically, what we want to do is find them specialist support staff. So kind of expanding on what people think a virtual assistant is, and having a discussion about what virtual resourcing can be.
Yes. Well, and let's talk about your work in the Philippines, because we were talking right before the show. You can't even hear an accent with many people from the Philippines. Why don't you talk about why that's such a great country to work with?
Yeah, so the Philippines is the only country that we work out of with our staff set up. A few reasons for that. The first one is English is a national language. So this extends right through to government policy. Any policy that is released by the government is done so in English. BPO, which is the traditional name of outsourcing industry, has been highlighted by the Filipino government as a growth industry. So it's got a good focus. And the education system is also really important. When we start to look at specialised staff, education becomes critical. And the education system in the Philippines really, at the point that it's at now, was established by the US. It's modeled on the US system. So the basic fundamentals of expectation are very, very much aligned with what we expect in the Western world.
Absolutely. And I can vouch for that. We actually have an employee that works in the Philippines, and she is doggedly determined. You can get her to answer an email or a text pretty much anytime, day or night. Talk about the work ethic that you're experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, the work ethic's strong. Manila, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, which is where our Filipino operations are based, is a global city. It's, I think, about 20 million people, and it's a 24-hour city. So this concept is something that's been used by corporates for a number of years, since the late 80s. The expectation, again, the work ethic and those clear fundamentals of how to operate in a business environment are well established, and that leads to results.
Outstanding. We've got a graphic from a webinar that you put on just a few days ago. Let's talk about, you do a lot of this, don't you? Do you like to educate?
Yes, we do indeed. So this one was earlier this week. We're also sponsors of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. That is a key industry for us. We've run webinars for them in the past, and I think that we will be running one again towards the end of the year. So follow me on LinkedIn or the Outsource Broker Support page to keep up to date, because us educating the clients and the audience that we're looking to work with is really critically important.
Yes, and you're really answering a big headache that we have in this country. Obviously, the unemployment rate is low, but there are still so many professions where they cannot find enough ambitious workers. So talk about how you're addressing the worker shortage in this country.
Well, that's exactly it. We're filling the gap. What we help businesses do realistically is overcome the two key hurdles, which is one, finding the committed talent, and then number two, being able to get the budget right for that talent. It's not necessarily about onshore and offshore staff. It's a collective team where you complement both sides of the equation.
And it's very affordable. I mean, my experience with our employee from the Philippines, she is probably the best value that I have at my company in terms of what she's earning and her output. Talk about the affordability.
Yeah, so depending on the state, you're looking at savings from 50 to 70%. As recently as last week, I was dealing with an accountant based in Louisiana. They had a quote for a virtual personal assistant onshore, and we provided a quote on the same brief, and we came in at 66% cheaper.
Unbelievable. Tell us one of your favorite client success stories.
I think there's a few, but one that actually springs to mind is we have a fintech company that has a team with us for back-end support, so software engineering, development, and things like that. A little over a year ago, they had one staff member with us. That number is now sitting at 8, and we're currently working with them to continue to grow that number up to probably 11 or 12, hopefully by early next year. So we've had a really, really big impact on their ability to create their systems and build their product to take it out to market.
Outstanding. And so if somebody's watching this broadcast right now and saying to themselves, maybe I need to get in touch with Sean and learn whether this is a good fit, what's the process? Do you set up a phone call or a Zoom meeting to just see if it's a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go onto the Outsource Broker Support website, you can book in directly into my calendar. My contact details are also on there. So if you would prefer to just have a quick chat, give me a call. I can run you through everything, and we can talk about the process from there.
Outstanding. And give us the website again.
So it's obsupport.biz.
Outstanding. We're going to put that up on the screen. Sean, you've been an amazing guest. obsupport.biz. The great Sean Devitt. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.